you kind of have to deposit that cash as a taxi driver because as you drive into these areas, you're getting taxed by the gangsters. Yeah, if you want to make money, I don't know, go to OnlyFans, I guess.
Work, become a CEO, yes.
Yeah, go work. Yeah.
Yes,
That is entrepreneurship.
Your business is that easy to steal. Bro, relax.
I'm-
How good
yes.
is it? How good of a business is it that easy to steal? There's a joke that goes around in the office. They say I dance for money, which maybe I do.
Welcome back to another episode of The Entrepreneur's Narrative. 2 episodes in, we just realized we haven't actually properly introduced ourselves. So,
Yeah.
in brief, I'm Atu.
And I'm Michelle.
Yeah, lovely wife, Michelle, and business partner.
Yeah,
And we run a web development agency based in Cape
in
Town.
Cape Town. Yeah.
And now we have a very exciting guest with us. Jamie from Loop.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here, guys.
I'm really excited to have you, honestly.
I'm here for the
cannot-
food, honestly. I'm not here to do it, because I'm here to eat.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, so we found out that he's a foodie as well. So I'm so, yeah.
I'm so excited.
Can't wait. And I love charcuterie boards. I don't know how you...
It's so simple. I love it.
I can't wait.
No, this is going to work. This is going to work,
Okay,
guys.
welcome to
You're
T.E.N, the abbreviation. Welcome to T.E.N. Can you tell us a little bit more about yourself? But also,
Gosh.
be as French as possible. You know,
Because-
the French, they completely ignore the fact that they work. So,
I don't know. It's stereotypical.
Now, when someone says, "Oh, tell us about yourself," I'm like, "Okay, who am I?" But born in Cape Town, I've lived here my entire life. I'm a Cape Flats boy, Cape Flats entrepreneur. I'm getting old. Yeah,
You're getting
but
old.
speaking of my age,
Crazy.
25 years old.
yeah, then I say that because I wanted to tell you my age, but I forgot my age. But I do know I just got nominated for the Africa 40 Under 40 Awards.
So you're under 40.
So I'm under 40.
Exactly. That's why I'm
Yeah.
like, why is he saying he's getting old?
Bro, the grace. I'm wearing the cap not because I love Cape Town, because I'm covering my grace. But I've kind of been doing entrepreneurship my whole life. I enjoyed it through primary school. I was doing entrepreneurship in high school, and it just seems like it's a no-brainer for me. Like, if you want something, go do it. Go make your money. Go hustle. A lot of learnings along the way, and I feel like I think I'm here also. If people want to know about business, I'll share. I'm proud of the company. Started Loop with Imtiaz Riley. So he came to me back when it was still COVID, and he told me the story of his dad. He's in the taxi space. He's a third-generation taxi entrepreneur. And he shared with me, at the time, I was doing business development as a consultant. So my role was in validating a business before we start getting investors for it. And he said, I have an idea. That time in COVID also, wasn't office space. You know, when you're hustling, no offices and things.
Yeah, of course.
We meet at coffee shops, we meet at restaurants, and we had a chat. He told me, hey, his dad drives taxis. And they're driving through Manenberg, Mitchell's Plain, through Athlone. And his father will usually call him up in the morning, like at 9:30 in the morning, just after peak, and tell him, come stand outside. He'll come out, and his dad hands him a bag of money and says, put this money in the cupboard. And he has to do that, and he just did it because his dad was saying it, but he realized that you kind of have to deposit that cash as a taxi driver because as you drive into these areas, you're getting taxed by the gangsters.
Yeah.
And it's unsafe to actually have all this cash on you because if they lose that money from the peak time,
That is your
money you lose. That's your
livelihood.
installment. That's your the food for the day.
Yeah.
The
School
petrol that you need.
fees, everything.
Yeah. So he was saying, we have all these traditional banking that we're using. Why can't we just use that for taxis? Like, great idea. Sounds amazing. I can definitely see the need and the use case.
Yes.
But before we just jump in and build it, let's understand who's all the players in the ecosystem because there must be a reason why they haven't used it yet.
Yes.
And we also need to find out who has tried things in this space and why it worked or hasn't worked.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's where I go into design thinking mode. So I don't come into the space and I say, I've got this idea.
Prescribing to people.
Yeah.
That's so important.
Yeah. I come in and
We'll get
first
to that.
unpack.
We'll get to that.
Oh, you're still talking about me. Well,
No,
I was speaking about Loop because I'm entrenched in the business. It's me as part of it. I'm part of Loop. And it's been growing quite nicely. I'm proud of it. I think we're doing quite a good job. Won a good couple of awards. 4 big ones last year. Best mobility in Southern Africa. Best mobility energy company in Africa. We won an award from the president for social enterprise of the year.
Yes.
We won an award for groundbreaking startup of the year.
Amazing.
Yeah, but I'll explain why and what. Yeah.
Because really, the reason why I wanted you on the podcast is because when you showed me how that thing worked, I was like, wait,
Yeah.
what is going on?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
You can pay anyone now.
Through WhatsApp.
Through text. And people ask, like, how did you come up with this? And the truth is, I didn't actually come up with this. I understood what the people needed, and I gave them what they needed.
Yeah.
That's, I think, the basis of
So
business.
many lessons there. Yeah.
There, you developed something, you definitely came up with something.
You solved a problem.
But yeah, so side note, a question that I do have you always, since you were younger, wanted to be an entrepreneur? Or is this
Kind of sounds like it.
Not necessarily. I think I didn't know I was an entrepreneur.
Oh.
You just do things.
So you're one of them where it is born, this is born in me.
Yeah.
No, because people think like you can't build entrepreneurs. I think he's like the natural, like...
I think it's more a case of wanting to solve problems.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm naturally inclined to want to, if I'm just, like something's uncomfortable or there's a problem, I want to solve it. Entrepreneurship is literally solving problems.
Yes.
Yeah.
And people are paying you
Actually,
for it.
I think I want to put a caveat. The doing entrepreneurship right is solving problems. If you just want to make money, I don't know if that's...
Yeah, if you want to make money, I don't know, go to OnlyFans, I guess.
Work, become a CEO, yes.
Yeah, go work. Yeah.
Yes,
That is
but-
entrepreneurship.
What are you talking about?
Well, you are kind of solving the problem. People need some entertainment. Yeah.
Yeah, you are solving a problem. Yes, yeah. Work. Seriously, get a full-time job if you just want to get money. Climb up the ladder because entrepreneurship is not
It's
always...
not that easy.
Yeah.
People see entrepreneurship at the end when you're flying around and doing the things. But it's hard in the beginning.
Yes, it
Yeah.
is. Very hard. Okay. You want to get into it?
Yeah, sure. I can keep talking while I'm cooking.
Of course, yes.
In traditional T.E.N tradition, we like to put our guests to work. So
I'm here for it, bro. And
It's a nice thing.
I chose a charcuterie board on purpose. You said, hey, you got a business show.
Yeah.
I chose a charcuterie board on purpose because I felt like if you're not going to learn about me talking business, you can do this. And a charcuterie board is something that can bring people together.
Yes.
A charcuterie board is something that it's easy to do.
Tastes great.
Yeah, the taste is based on what you're going to be using.
Yeah.
But there's also a lot of business.
And I'm interested to find that.
Yeah.
Please.
Because
Can you-
one thing for sure is setting out your stage. If you're doing a business, this is what the people are going to see. This is where you're going to work. You have your little sandbox. You have your play area.
Yeah.
This is where I'm going to be chopping the goodies up, but I'm plating over there.
Yeah.
And that I think people also need to know. Like they say, you don't mess when you eat. And the same thing with your market, because your
Yeah.
brand is what people see.
Yeah.
So
And you'd prefer that they only
yeah,
keep,
let them
to be
see the good,
honest.
because
Yeah.
that's unfortunately human nature is about perception. You eat with your eyes first.
Yes.
The same like when you see products.
Yeah.
And with branding, if I look, for example, the goodies that we've got, you could have gotten goodies anywhere, from any place.
Yeah.
But packaging and branding and perception
Yeah.
makes something just look better. You can literally double, triple, 4 times your price just
Because
by
of
changing your
branding.
packaging.
Yeah. Yes.
Because people perceive, oh, if they put so much time into this, they must
Yes.
be giving me a good product.
But also, it's usually just if it looks good, it must be good. That's literally how people work.
Yeah.
It's, yeah.
And it's too late after you buy it. If it's bad,
Yes, it's
you already
true.
paid for it.
Exactly.
But hopefully not.
Whether you
Yeah.
are a repeat
Imagine.
customer.
Yeah. Get that hooking. But what I'm going to start with now is with the charcuterie board, you start with your big things first. So I'm going to lay things out, and then I'm going to start cutting things. Just soften it up a little bit, just move it around. Yeah, it will start to soften as you play around.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you see, now the other thing is me. As much as I love this stuff, I'm not good in the kitchen.
That, I think, also comes with experience.
It definitely
Just
does.
like business, if you keep doing it, you'll get better.
That is so.
There's something that I stick with, especially around. It's easy to say it in the arts, perhaps, where they say, or in photography, your first 10,000 pictures will be your worst. Because you're only going to get better. Like your first 10,000 paintings, your first 10,000 songs as a musician. So all the people out there in the creatives, you can think, oh, this is an amazing song. Yeah, it's amazing right now. But
that's not,
That's not all. That's not the end.
And not only that, it took a long time to get there. And not giving up, actually.
Take just a teaspoon, small teaspoon, and then you mix that in.
The whole teaspoon, like
Not
that.
I think that's enough. That's enough.
Yeah.
But it is quite spicy.
It's
And if you want, what's good to do, get another teaspoon for yourself, and you can give it a taste. Because with cooking, and just like business, you need to keep tasting. If you don't know what you serving other people, is not going to be good for yourself.
actually you mentioned that you use design thinking to come up with loop. Right? What you're talking about now is part of the design thinking process.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you have an idea, you need to test it as quickly as possible.
Yep.
Yeah.
You don't have to wait until it's perfect.
Yeah.
Don't wait until it's done.
Please don't, actually.
Yeah. Because the quicker you can break it, which sounds counterintuitive, but the quicker you can break it, the quicker you can fix it.
Yes, that, but also you might be perfecting something that people don't want to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's something, even just the idea on its own. There's a term we use called the hired paid person's opinion, the hippo mentality. And what happens there is often happens in corporates, where people go on someone's idea and everyone agrees because they get paid the most.
Yes. Yeah.
So boss comes in and says, oh, we're going to make this product. Let's pump millions into the product. And everyone says, yes, boss, let's do it. But we didn't actually understand what our customers are doing on the ground. We didn't understand what our customers' needs are.
Yes.
So now you as a big corporate putting a whole bunch of cash into this, everyone's time, you take it to market and nobody wants it.
And then you wonder why.
Yeah.
Then you sit there and you're thinking, we worked so hard.
What did I do wrong?
Yes.
You worked hard, definitely. We
Yes.
can't dispute how hard you worked.
But on the wrong thing.
Yeah. If you didn't work to the right thing.
On the wrong thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Let me help you with that.
Yeah,
So this
go
is some
ahead.
truffle oil. Very lovely flavor. You don't need a lot of it. So I'm going to put like a bit of truffle oil in there and you can give it a mix. And then so truffle oil gives us nice and umami flavor.
Oh, before I
Then
start.
for some sweetness, you can mix it in. Yeah.
Get some B-roll of that.
I don't know if you can smell it already, eh?
I can, yeah.
Yeah. So truffle oil is quite it's a strong, I can't say strong, it's a unique smell.
Yeah, this must be concentrated because I've never smelled it.
Yeah,
like
it is
you.
quite concentrated truffle oil. And I'll put a little bit of, just for some sweetness.
Cool.
And
I
that's
can't wait
gonna-
to taste this one. This must
That's
be
going to
nice.
bump it up a little. The maple flavor and the truffle flavor go so good together. Even instead of maple, you can use honey.
Oh, okay.
And honey adds a really nice flavor to the cheese.
I can't wait.
For a hard cheese, if you see what I'm doing with the cheeses, a hard cheese you can actually crumble. So I'm not going to crumble that yet because it'll get my fingers dirty.
Yeah, that's true.
And even one of these, the soft cheeses, you don't even have to cut up. This one also gets a bit wet. So
You're saying all these things, and I'm like, I've put these stuff on my boards before, but I've not even ever thought
I think it's
of
maybe me that overthinks, and that's I think
could
what's a
be
problem.
another thing.
But the thing of overthinking is it's a case of planning, and I think if you're doing a business, you need to kind of consider everything. You need to consider how things are going to work together. You need to consider what you like, what you don't like.
That sounds like a precursor to an obsession, which is probably also good for business.
I
Yeah.
believe, yes. I believe the successful entrepreneurs are the ones that obsess over their product and their business and everything about it, like all levels.
I'm not going to deny that there
Yeah.
is some sense of obsession.
Yeah.
But the part with entrepreneurs, it's also about having that balance and that team.
Yeah.
You can't do everything.
100%.
A lot of entrepreneurs think, I'm going to do the
Try
social
to.
media, I'm going to do the
Yeah.
product, I'm going to do the accounting. You're
Even
going to...
if they're doing it badly.
No, but
Yeah.
I guess, need to get a fair amount of understanding about the requirement of having to do that.
No problem.
That's fine, yeah.
You don't have... Because I feel like even if you're going to hire someone, you need to know what the job's going to be.
Yeah.
But my big rule or advice to entrepreneurs, get someone that can do it better than you. Because the truth is, you that's not an accountant, you're going to take 3 days, 4 days, you're going to submit this accounting stuff, it'll be wrong. You waste, that could have been time that you could have been doing something that you're actually good
Where
at.
you should be thinking
Yeah.
about your business, yes. Yeah.
Okay, thanks for that.
This one's also
That's
done.
done. You can, oh, it smells lovely.
Can I smell?
Oh,
Oh, lovely.
yeah, that's beautiful.
Okay, I've got an interesting question for you while you're creating the board now. If when you think about your business and where it is now, what I've noticed is you guys have been like adapting and innovating based on your market and sort of growing Loop like that. So if you had to get like a secret ingredient to make Loop successful, like
Beyond what it is.
that's sorry, like something that you feel like is missing, that secret ingredient, what would that
From
be?
Loop. Okay, for Loop. One thing I definitely will say, not to offend anybody, but a big problem is thinking as an entrepreneur that everyone is as passionate about your business as you are.
Ah, yes. Yeah.
Thinking, like you mentioned, this people are obsessed. And it's strange, like, this is my baby, I'm doing this. Why aren't you as obsessed as a staff member with my business as I am?
Needs to work.
So when people come to work and just do their job, that's supposed to be normal. But as an entrepreneur, we often feel like, that's offensive. What do you mean you're not going to work after hours? What do you mean you're not going to do all these things and I'm not going to pay you more? Because you must understand it's a startup.
Even
So-
you'll pay you more just now.
Yeah, we get in there. So that's something I think that we can learn as entrepreneurs, to understand that we're all different and we all have different goals and different purposes. And what I like about Loop, we've understood that now.
Okay.
So in the beginning, even me, I was like, but I can work 24 hours. Why can't I find someone that can do this? Imtiaz is super hardworking. I think I haven't met anyone. That man is at work in the morning. He's on site working the taxis. There's resilience. There's all this push, and you expect that from yourself. But it's also a case of expectations and communicating expectations. And often, not a lot of people can do what you need done, and not a lot of people have the same vision as you. They just needed an opportunity. They just needed a job.
They really just needed a job, yeah. Really just needed a job.
There's also the difficulty in communicating exactly what you want and what you require. So
Yeah,
that's
a skill that entrepreneurs need. And if you don't have it, find someone that can communicate for you. Like I mentioned, find someone that can do it better than you. Always, just find someone that can do it better than you. There's no need for you to be the only one to be able to do something. And that's actually very limited on your business.
Nice.
Because you can't, we just get in there. This is like how a business grows. You start putting things in place, start
100%.
working, and it starts getting there.
100%. Oh, you added the brown. Oh my God.
It pops on there. That's the herb reduction.
Yeah.
So it's balsamic vinegar and herb reduction on there.
Okay.
And I've added some pine nuts.
the elements of this.
Some pine nuts has such a good flavor. The pine nuts, the nuttiness will go nice with the nuttiness of the maple, and also complement the umami of the
Okay.
truffle oil.
As you can see, chef.
Yeah, Chef
Chef
Jamie, entrepreneur Jamie.
He has graced us with a full charcuterie board. So we're gonna dig into this.
Yeah, I can't. Oh, it looks so nice.
And bros, like, do this. Like, and what I like about the charcuterie board is, if I look at business, you have your mix of characters, you have your mix of experience, you have a mix of people working with you. But bag of biltong on its own, biltong on its own is good. Cheese on its own is good.
Yeah.
But together, it's magic.
Yeah.
Together, it's beauty.
That is,
and that's what building a company is about.
Yeah.
An entrepreneur on its own. There's an African proverb: if you wanna go fast, go alone.
your own.
And if you wanna go far, go together.
Yes, yeah.
And I really see, based on where you wanna get to, when you start bringing things together, it works.
Yeah, 100%. I love that. That's perfect. Let's go now. Try this
Enjoy this.
togetherness.
Unseen features you want to, it's like with your products, like with Loop. We look at what our customers' needs are, and we enhance the sides of things that the customers tell us we need. So I didn't realize that it was going to
I'm so excited. Are you gonna tell us how to, like, what you think we should have? Because we have to rate it now.
Oh,
And you
okay,
must also
okay.
rate your thing, Mos. You are just
Yeah, I'll
talking
act
about
like I
that.
didn't make this thing. I'll be non-biased.
I feel like you should back yourself. That's what I feel like. So if you,
There's so many things to test.
that's what
I
I'm
don't know if
saying.
you have
What
the-
does he?
the
Okay, cool.
capacity to rate.
I think you can layer things up. So if you start off, take one of this biscuit has cheese built into it. These are the plain Provitas. Take one of the plain ones to start, and you have a clean
Okay.
I
slate.
also think so.
Yeah. Mix of flavors. Give that a try.
I'm gonna eat one side.
Go for it.
Oh, I can taste the spice. it's something.
No, it's so nice.
What have you got on that side? What's left? The sweet one. Cool. Then I think put something salty with that. So maybe a piece of biltong on that side. And that will mix things up. This is really about the
amazing.
appreciation of putting things together.
Here we go.
Bro, you're not touching it.
I'll touch some goodies. I'm here for it. Junior, calm down.
All right.
The biltong is lost into my system.
What are you
It's
saying?
chewy. 12 out of 10.
12 out of 10. Lies. What?
Out of 10, he's given it a 12. I think I'll give it a 10 out of 10. You know why? This looks so nice. And it tastes really nice, yeah.
I've been craving
I love it.
grapes.
The grapes are nice to do as a refreshing pop,
Yeah,
even
I'm
after
also thinking-
the meat's a bit dry, the biltong. But it's made to be dry.
Yeah.
But the burst of the juice, yeah, brilliant.
This is
So,
serious business.
oh,
Rate yourself.
rate myself. Oh gosh, I'm
You
so hard on
only
myself.
had your own food also.
Yeah,
What's
this is
going
maybe
on?
like a 4 for me. 4 out of 10.
Why are you being so harsh?
I feel like I can always improve, bro. I really feel like I can always get better. If I'm gonna, and not that I'm saying it's bad.
What's excellent?
I'm not saying.
I'm sorry. 4
I'm not
out
saying
of
it's
10
bad.
is not saying I can improve. 4 out of 10 is saying I did terrible.
4 out of 10 is saying 5 is my standard, 5 is my acceptable. This is servable to guests. This is doable. But, they give me more. Cool, there's pops of gold. Maybe I'll give it a 4.5.
I'm sorry, I had a goal to the food and he's saying 4 out of 10. I'm shook.
Nah, I don't know. I'm not trying to be hard on myself. I think maybe this is the thing.
Yeah.
If this was me, yeah. If I got this from somebody else, which I should have followed my rules, I would have, if I had to pay for this, I'll pay for it. Maybe I should rate it in that way. Like, remember when I said you ask customers, would you do this? That's more case of the feeling. Would I pay for something like this? If I got service at the restaurant, would I be satisfied? I think I would.
You would.
Yeah.
Wine farms don't serve this and they charge a lot of money for this. And it doesn't look like this. So
Absolutely.
I think you're being hard on
very
yourself.
hard on yourself.
Very
Yeah, I should have
hard
taken myself out of there. I should have taken a step back. That's my entrepreneurial things happening.
It's kicking in.
Yeah.
Actually, I think that's somewhere I want to start then, because so you've described yourself as a serial entrepreneur and like you've always been doing this, and then now I feel like entrepreneurship is like a really long, lonely, tough journey.
I'm gonna say it doesn't have to be. I know that people do entrepreneurship on their own because you protect your idea. Sometimes people say, before I talk to you, you need to sign these documents.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be that way.
It really, yeah.
Even the case of, someone's gonna steal my idea. First of all, if your business is that easy to steal, bro, relax. How good is it? How good of a business is it so that easy to steal?
Also execution most of the
That
time.
is actually more
Yes, yeah.
important than can someone steal or not, is can they execute like you? And I feel if someone stole Loop's idea and they could execute better, I'll be like, go for it.
Yeah.
Yes, it's our business, we put a lot of work into this. But the reason why I'm doing this is because the people need it. And if someone can give this to the people better than me, I want to work with other people. I want to say, how do I join you? Because there's also the other thing of this mindset of competition, of protection and
Yeah.
competition, like sad face to competition. Competition can help you level up in what you're doing. That's what I believe in competition, and I believe in the corporate market. But also I believe in collaboration. If, example, the 3 of us are in the exact same business. The 2 of us decide to work together, you decide to compete. Who's going to go further?
So the two people working together, much further, much further.
Combination of minds, combination of
fighting. How
resources.
do you
Yes,
balance that with fighting for market share?
you both can have the market
Yes.
share. If
What are we fighting for?
Yeah.
Because if we're gonna compete, right?
Yeah.
I really feel like if we work together, there's more that we can do. So one of us are gonna lack somewhere. There's a reason even we got to the place that we are. There must be some sort of success to get us where we are. Combined. If you want to be separate, like I always say, I'm open to collaboration. If you don't want to collaborate, that's fine. I'm moving on. And what often happens is that people that say, oh, we can't work with you because we're doing the same thing in the same market, they come knocking later and say, hey, remember the time, we changed our minds. We want to work with you now.
oh wow,
So just be open to working with people. It doesn't mean you have to work with everybody. You also vet and set your standards.
yeah, of course.
So you know who are you inviting to your space?
Yeah.
Who's eating at your table? And what do they bring to the table? So you need to know what, because you can say, oh, like everyone's welcome, but welcome for what? If it was a case of a jacuzzi board, I'm bringing the cheese, you're bringing the meat, you're
Yeah.
bringing the jams.
Yeah.
Let us bring.
You bring
So we can all eat together.
bringing their
Because the truth is,
strengths.
together it works.
Honestly, I wish more people could understand. The world would be so far if we just all understood. Like collaboration truly does make it much better.
Yeah.
Makes us go much further.
There's things I want to speak about on collaboration as well, about being able to choose your partners. You can't be, hypothetically, a vegan company and then you partner with the meat company.
Oh,
Look,
yeah.
maybe you could, you never know.
I don't
Back
know.
in values don't align.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Do your values align? Do you have the same values? If the values align, great,
By all
check it out.
Yeah.
Do you have a certain thing that the other person lacks? Yes, but that means you first identify what do you need as a company?
Yeah.
What do you need as an entrepreneur? Once we identify that, we can see, so who has what I need? It doesn't have to be because you don't have it. It could just be that is not our best skill. Or, like I would say, hire someone better than you. So if someone else can do something better than you, go ahead and let them do it. Yeah. And that's how it's an easy way to navigate and look at who you should be partnering with and who you should be working with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard horror stories from companies collaborating with other companies where your values are like this.
Yeah.
Like serious.
It
horror
doesn't
stories.
work.
Yeah.
And it's like you're going into this just thinking, and I'm going to be honest here, a lot of times we think we're going to make money. Yeah, sometimes the thing of
You're
just making money
but
doesn't.
you're crying.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the partner.
And if your goal is money, I'm not there to judge.
yeah.
In my case, it's about impact.
Yeah.
It's about my happiness, about how do I grow the people that I'm working
Yeah.
with. And that's for me valuable. People have different values.
Yeah. Speaking of impact, when did you realize that a market that people overlook all the time needs a solution and you can make money from it? And yeah.
Let me say this, you can make money from anything.
Oh, okay.
You can make money from anything. But the thing about being in this underserved community, especially people using public transport and taxis, that's a niche market that people didn't want to touch, but they knew there was problems. And it was a case of how do you monetize it? That's why people didn't want to get into it, because how do you monetize something that you think there's little money? But the emerging market, because of the volumes,
Yes.
there is so much money. If I look at Mitchell's Plain, for instance, it's one of the biggest townships in South Africa. Kailicha, Zanga.
So big.
There's so many people there. And it's not the case of, okay, there's a lot of people. Then they say, oh, but a lot of them are unemployed. That's just opportunities. Where there's problems, there's more opportunities. And with the massive people, I used to game a lot. Side story. I used to game a lot. And a lot of games like StarCraft, Age of Empire, your population is your currency. The more people you have growing in your civilization, the more resources you're able to gather, the more things you can do. So it's more about being able to say, hey, I've got a big population, what do I do with it now? And what I'm going to say about the emerging market reminds me of startups. The emerging market has so much potential because we've seen in first world country what's happened. They've grown, they've solved things, and they're moving. Now you have a place that's untapped, that's also going to grow. If you invest in if you invest in a startup, it's high risk, but you have this huge potential for reward.
Yeah.
And that's what I see the emerging market as. It
In
might
fact,
be
they're coming back now. They're looking at this continent.
the investors are coming because they know
literally
if I
coming
get in
back.
early,
Yeah.
you have this big potential of earning income.
Yeah.
So yes, I'm going to make money from doing But if I impact first and it works,
Yes. Yeah.
that's where it's gonna grow and reach. That's why I feel like I'm not gonna leave the emerging market. I see so much potential in the emerging market, and that's gonna make me think, how do I solve in that space? The other thing of solving, the solutions are coming from the people. I didn't have to make up an idea. I just had to understand what are the problems. And if I look at the parameters in Loop, a taxi driver, they're working in
Actually,
cash.
quickly explain what Loop is, because I
Sure.
don't think we've...
Let me tell people what Loop is. I said when Loop started,
Yeah.
but what we built in Loop, when NTS told me about moving towards a cashless taxi fare collection, right? We interviewed commuters, we interviewed drivers, we interviewed owners, we interviewed government, we interviewed banking, we interviewed other fintechs to understand what is in the space, who is doing what. We then looked at who is the customer we're trying to serve in this industry as well. We identified a few customers. There was a lot of opportunities. But then we looked at why is what we're trying to solve not working. And the situation is we weren't competing with another app. We weren't competing with another payment system. We're competing with cash.
Yes.
And you figure that out by looking at what is your customer doing if they're not using you. If my customer is not going to pay on Loop, how are they going to pay?
Yeah.
If my customer is not getting to a taxi, what are they going to use? If my customer is not coming to my restaurant, where are they going to eat? And when you understand your customer's behavior, you realize what is your actual competition. By us knowing that cash is a competition, we were then able to look at the pains and gains of cash. The pains of cash is if I get robbed, money's gone. If I throw the money from the ATM, money has no earning potential. I have to go stand in the line at the ATM, give the money to the driver, argue for my change. There was so much pain that cash does, but the gains, cash is instant. Cash seems like there's no cost attached to it.
Yes, yeah.
If I give you the money right now, you can move.
Yeah.
So if you're going to solve in the space, if you understand your competition, take the good of your competition and keep that. Or what I'll say is create gain creators. Look at what is good and how do you enhance what is good. Then look at the pains and say, how do I get painkillers? How do I eliminate these pains? So what we've done, instant, like cash,
Yes.
you receive your money right now.
Literally, it is. Yeah.
We looked at cost. If you're going to charge for digital payments, who's going to pay for it? Because they'll just revert back to cash because I don't feel the charges on cash. The person that feels the charges, first of all, the person drawing the money doesn't even realize the charges because the bank hides the cost at the end of the month. But the person in the taxi that really feels the charges is the owner. They collect all the cash from the drivers. End of the month, they have to go deposit the cash back into the ATM. Stand in the line, bank charges per 100 rand that you put
That
in.
is very true.
And that money has to go in because they have to pay the installment, they have to pay for bigger things. So there's a cost on that side,
is
which
so
the customers don't feel.
Yeah.
But then if the customers don't feel it, if it's not a problem to the customers, who do you charge? Who should be the one paying for something if people don't see it as a problem? So what do we just charge? Nobody.
Yes.
I was saying about the problems. And if you solving a problem for somebody and it's not their problem, they're not going to use it. So the situation like, who do you charge for using our service? If they don't have a problem with the current system, they're not going to pay. They're not going to pay you to solve a non-existent problem. But for us, we didn't have to charge for the instant payments. We didn't have to charge for the money being able to move around because we built our own banking rails. so we're not paying bank charges because the way our system actually works is when the money is moving around via WhatsApp, the actual funds are sitting still in one bank account.
Okay.
Then we're just telling you the money is moving around.
Yes.
So there's no need to charge for that because there's no cost to us. However, how do you run a business like this? The truth is, we looked at the volumes. The minibus taxi industry has 15 million trips per day. Yeah, 15 million per day in South Africa. Our plan was if we take on 10% of the market in 5 years. So that, which is very conservative, which is 1.5 million. With an average taxi fare being 15 Rand, that works out, my math's going to fail me, 22 million Rand per day.
Wait,
2
1.5
million.
No.
1.5 million times 15.
Yes. It's about 23.
Well,
This is your thing, not to.
look, it's a big number.
Yes.
And that's how much money passes through the system. So if we actually take that money, have it sit in our account, the money can draw interest. The difference in the normal
I
way,
see. So that's how you.
yeah,
Okay.
when people draw the money from the bank account, can't make any money.
Yes, yeah.
But if they put it in our system, the money can sit and grow, right? Now, the nice thing with Loop, once the money is inside the Loop, a commuter spends loads of funds.
Yeah.
They spend it with a taxi. The taxi is to put in fuel, taxi is to buy food, the taxi is to pay the boss. They'll pay the boss by a Loop. They'll put in fuel by a garage that accepts Loop. They'll buy food at a Loop-enabled merchant. And this is now growing the community beyond just taxi and driver.
yeah.
Not just that, the commuters inside also sell items. Then I can also send money to each other. We've now enabled the emerging market to make payments so simple for themselves that anyone can just start a business.
So your revenue generation is interest.
So our revenue generation, there's a few.
Okay.
Sometimes in a business, you don't just need one.
No, you
So
need.
the research we done was looking at interest. Then we realized we can make on value-added services. I'll explain the value-added services.
Okay.
We also, when people started using taxis, one of our biggest source of income has actually been the software and the booking systems for our taxis. Now, corporates are able to book minibus taxis, and we're making revenue
Yeah.
by adding a markup on the booking of the minibus taxis. Even with our markup, we're way more affordable than anyone else for the service.
Yeah.
We also included insurance. So every commuter that's using Loop has 10,000 in life cover. And we needed that because a lot of people that take public transport or staff transport, they're either underinsured or they're not insured at all. But the big thing is they are the breadwinners. If anything happened to them,
Very true.
what does the family get? So with the partnership with Santam, we've embedded insurance into the package. So
Oh, wow.
you take out the Loop vehicle, your life is covered as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And that's also value add.
Collaboration.
Yeah. We're not charging the customer for that,
Yeah.
but there's ways of recouping that funds in the system. So the thing is, what I like to do is people don't like the idea of pain. So how do I just make it that you don't have the idea of pain? Where you just live your life.
Yeah.
And even there, I want to look at the evolution of payments and the evolution of living, where there's new tech we're working on. So we're also approached by events. They make these armbands and they're saying, hey, the chat to pay is really cool, but can you give us armbands that people can tap? And I'm like, that is so old school because now I need to program this armband. I need to cut it off at the end of the event. We are doing something new. You guys will be the first media house to hear this. We are going to be looking at pay with palm. So you can just use your hand and the shops or anyone will be able to have a scanner. It just scans your hand, you can pay. So if your phone dies, whatever, you can see all your money on WhatsApp.
Yeah, I know. Like
Yeah. The thing with me, I want things to be, I don't want people to think. I don't want people to do things.
Yes, you are
And
making it
pay
easier,
with palm
yeah.
just makes it so simple because I can just go around and I can use my hand. Hand is a beautiful thing to be able to scan. There's no contact. So it's not like a fingerprint where I need to touch it.
God.
We all know we sanitize all the time. But a hand is also even more unique as a palm print. I can't say more unique. Unique is unique.
This
but
cannot be stolen. Seriously, this is like.
if people still come
No,
work with, I'm going to say, come collaborate with us.
No, I mean like, you know.
Oh, yes, you can't steal a palm.
can't steal a
I thought you meant the
palm,
idea. Come take the
yes.
idea. But your palm can't be stolen.
Can't
yeah.
steal-
Even
sure.
if someone chops your hand off, we were able to know that the hand is dead, so it won't
Yes,
work.
yeah.
Yeah. But
What?
pay with palm is the next step we're going to be doing. And that works for going into events, paying by a shop. Because sometimes, yes, it's cool. You try to pay with the phone. But now I need maybe it's just me.
It's just you.
It's
Because
just me. Like,
you're
oh,
used
now I
to
must
how
take
easy, yeah.
like, oh, I can pay my card, I can take my bank card out and I pay, I'm gonna take cash. I didn't like that. Now it's like, oh, I must take my phone out and pay. Now I don't have to take anything out and
You
pay.
just-
I just use my hand.
Wow.
And I
Lazy
feel,
human beings. Right?
maybe it's because I'm so lazy that I don't like doing these things. And
No, I think
would,
your standard, you just got used to like super easy payments.
yeah,
and
which I
things.
think should be, bro. We should be doing things so simple. Why are we making struggles in our lives? Yeah, and if you want to fix it, let it be us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we sell you something, just fix it. And that I feel is one of the ground line things for entrepreneurship is if you're going to do something, if you don't like something, don't depend on someone else.
Yeah.
Do it.
And I think that's a mindset our country needs to shift
Yeah,
into because
yeah,
they keep
yeah,
saying,
yeah.
this is someone else's problem. I'm going to strike because they're not doing something for me.
Yeah.
Just do it yourself. Like, what do you lose? Yeah, yes, someone else might be responsible. Government might be responsible for fixing things.
Yeah.
But what do you lose if you do it yourself?
Yeah. Yeah.
Speaking of which, this now means as an opportunity to like define obstacles, right? So if we take a step back, you entered a market that is like notoriously known to be reluctant to formalize in any
Or even just
way.
input from outside.
Yeah.
And it's dangerous. And
that on its own.
Let me say this, guys. I think things are all about perception. It's perceived as danger. Yeah, there's
Yeah,
dangers.
it's dangerous, man.
There's dangers.
What do you
But I
mean?
guess for us, we grew up.
I feel, yeah,
I grew up there.
Dangerous or danger.
Danger is danger.
Whether you are
Danger is danger, but it's
or not.
but my
That is
perception of
your
danger. Yeah,
advantage,
but that's
actually.
also
Your advantage was
it doesn't seem as dangerous for me or Imtiaz because we
Because
grew
he's
up in the
within, yeah.
space. You know, we grew up taking taxis. We
Yeah.
grew up with our families driving taxis.
Yeah.
My brother was a taxi driver. I have family in the taxi business. We've got family friends that are like doing the most. Imtiaz's whole family, like they went to school on school fees that came from taxis. And that is our normal life, the way people speak, the way people engage. That's what we're used to. So maybe in our case, we were so close to the problem,
Yeah.
we didn't realize how bad the
Exactly.
problem is.
Okay. But still, regardless, you must have faced some degree of obstacles.
I think everyone faces obstacles more because of how you navigate obstacles. I see obstacles as opportunities. If it's a-
So
if-
what are the biggest ones you faced?
I think, especially working in payments, is a case of trust. But that's a case of brand for any business that you're starting.
Yes.
How do you get your customers to trust what you're doing? Simple thing for us is just use it. Once you get into your hands to just use it, you realize, wow, this is actually really
It's
cool.
really cool, yeah.
But still people are skeptical.
Yeah.
Then it's a case of dividing the case of who are the ones that are going to take my product and run with it? Who are the ones going to be skeptical? Now that I've identified who the people are,
Yeah.
let me just go with the ones that like me. Let me start there. Let's start there. Because the early adopters will help build trust for you.
They would evangelize.
So the skeptics will see a lot of skeptical there because I don't want to be the first to try this. Let someone else do it, they'll watch. So you find your early adopters, let them use it, let them drive traction, let them speak on your behalf, let them invite you to a show to talk about your business. And then the skeptics will be like, well, if that person is doing it, it must work. If someone I believe is an idol is doing this, it must work. And that's how you find a way to navigate through that space. Because the truth is, not everyone's going to want to do your business and accept that.
Yeah.
Not everyone's going to think what you're doing is amazing. Just accept that. And then look at who is this for? Because even though it might be the right customer that will use your service, it's not the right customer fit for the solution you're providing. So there needs to be a fit on both sides. And people need to be comfortable with what you're doing.
That's it.
That is
Speaking of like, okay, obstacles. So the trust one, that's how you overcame it. Was there ever a moment where you felt like, nah, bruh, I can't do this?
It's not gonna work.
What times? How many times a day? No, jokes, guys, jokes. But on a serious note,
Yeah.
there are times when things get so stressful
Yeah, like,
and you think, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore.
yeah, truly.
But you need to realize, why did you start?
Yes.
What are your goals? I'm not saying that quitting is bad because if you had enough, you had enough.
Sometimes- Yeah.
But you need to understand when quitting. Why am I quitting? Why am I stopping? What went wrong? Because I know this time, I know Imtiaz even told me father quitting. That's literally his baby. Because things get tough. Waiting for money from clients and now you have staff
Yeah.
on your back. So we're going to take, there's a joke that goes around in the office. They say I dance for money, which maybe I do. Because if the company needs my role as an executive in this business, I don't expect this from the staff, but my role is I will go dance for that money. If a client's taking 2 months to pay that on a month that's due
Exactly.
3 months ago,
Yeah.
I can't tell my staff, hey, we're just waiting for the client. Look,
Yeah.
I can explain to them this is what's going on.
But that's
it's
none
my
of their
duty.
business,
It's
yeah.
my duty as the co-founder of this baby.
Yeah.
I'm the parent of this
Yeah.
thing. I need to source the money and find the money. And sometimes you have to do what you got to do
Yeah.
to make it work. But there's also proper planning in place to get there. Because you can also fail because of improper planning. You can fail because of mismanagement of finances.
Yeah.
And I've seen that a lot in entrepreneurs, especially people that aren't used to handling loads of cash, falls through your fingers. But if you understand what you set your goals to, like I'm doing this thing now for this year, 2025, a bingo list. So instead of setting New Year's resolutions, my friends and I are making a bingo board with different items that you want to
That
do
you
for the year.
create.
And it's such nice dopamine, I'm telling you, when you get to scratch that thing off the list. And it doesn't have to be big, difficult things. New Year's resolutions, you started in January. By February, you forgot what the resolutions were.
finished, yeah.
But if you're able to look at, hey, I want to make one charcuterie board this year. That's off
Done,
my list
yeah.
now.
Yeah.
I want to take a trip to the beach.
Yeah.
Simple things you can do together. And I'm saying that because if you understand what you're trying to achieve, if like I'm taking a trip to the beach, but it's so hot. But now it's like, okay, do I need to do this today? Can I do something else instead? Do I need to quit the entire thing? No. There's still ways of working around what your
Yes.
challenges are and still achieving what you want to achieve. But I'm telling you, as an entrepreneur, there's been days and I'm like,
I know.
Oh, how do I
know.
stop?
That's why I'm asking this question, because I know there was one year where I was done every single day of that year. Like,
Yeah.
every day.
I'm going to also say this. Entrepreneurship is not for everybody.
Yeah.
It looks good on social media, in the news, on paper.
People tell
winning
you,
awards. Yeah, people say, oh, we're so proud of you. Like,
Yeah.
proud of what? I'm stressing back home.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if it was for everybody, then everybody would be doing
Yes,
it.
yeah.
If it was easy,
Everyone
all of
would
us will be
succeed.
billionaires.
We wouldn't have this many failed small businesses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But all of those things are learnings, but also understand that there's things you need. You need a grit. You need to be able to have thick skin. You need to know, main thing is know why you are doing this. Know what you're working towards. Once you know what you're doing, you know where you're
Yeah.
heading. There's a exercise I do when I lecture sometimes at universities or with small groups. And I don't know if you can do it now.
What,
But
lecture?
visualize this.
Okay, let's.
Not the lecture, the exercise.
Exercise.
And I'll have, let me demonstrate with some grips. I'll have 3 people, camera can't see, but we pretend. I'll have 3 people stand back to back
Uh-huh.
in a little triangle, like this.
Yeah.
And I'll say, this is your stuff, this is your business, right? And I'll say, everyone take a step forward. They all follow the instruction. They took a step forward. But guess what? They're further apart from each other now. They're further apart from where they're trying to head as a company. Get back together. First, focus on where you are heading.
I see.
None of them made a mistake. They followed the instruction.
They did, yeah.
But now I say, we are trying to go there.
Yeah.
Take a step forward. Now that everyone takes a step forward, we're all working
you're
together.
together, yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Find that purpose first and make sure everyone knows what you're working towards. Because you can work in a team, but if the team doesn't know where's the goals, where's the goalpost,
yes, yeah.
people can be going this way for goal, people can be going that way for goal. And you end up wasting money, you end up wasting time, you end up failing. And that's, I'm going to tell you, the most frustrating thing is when people aren't aligned. You think in your mind, everyone knows what's going on in your head, but you need to communicate it. You need to find, not just communicate, but you need to find the right way to communicate. Because this is something our HR said. You're responsible for making sure the person you're speaking to understands what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's not the person's responsibility to understand what you're saying. It's your responsibility when you say something or do something or show something or body language something that the person you're speaking to, they
Receives
understand.
it the way-
So you need to change the way you speak or the way you communicate to get the message across effectively. That's what you do inside your staff. That's what you do when you're speaking to your customers. That's what you do when
you market,
anywhere else. Yeah.
When you market yourself.
And I think that's quite valuable. Shout out to Helen for giving the insight. Yeah. But that can really be applied anyway. I feel you're responsible for how you communicate and how people receive what you're saying.
Yeah, but you guys went from, was it a 2-man startup?
We started off with 3
3.
and we are now, I think, over 50 staff.
Amazing.
Wow.
How's that growth journey been for you? From a startup to a...
Sorry for laughing.
laughing?
Sorry for laughing because growth is difficult, guys.
Yeah.
Growth is what
Yes.
everybody wants. Oh, we're making more jobs. We're doing this. Oh, I must say there's 50 core staff, but we've enabled like over 300, 400 jobs
Yeah, I do
because all our taxi drivers, all the
Yes.
merchants that we onboarded, it's
yeah.
all additional work that they're getting.
Yeah.
So those are more jobs.
Yeah.
And I believe in entrepreneurship, the way we fight poverty, the more jobs you can create,
100%.
the more entrepreneurs you can support, the more jobs they can
Yes.
create. So our entire business from the impact side is how do we enable more entrepreneurs? How do we enable more
That's
partners?
literally what our thing.
Yeah.
We measure our impact by employment as well, and the quality
Yeah.
of employment.
But this thing of employing people, oh, it's difficult, guys. And look, the team that's working is working and they're great. But you need to also have the right people with you. So we do training with our staff. We try to work together. We're also learning.
Yeah.
I think this is the biggest team that I've been working with. As an entrepreneur, you're either working on your own or you work with a small team. Let things go fast. Things are going fast at the moment, but it's also different personalities. I have to watch how I speak. I get HR warnings whole time because of the jokes I make.
Oh,
But I mean, it's so, that's
no.
what I'm used to. And now I'm like, I need to watch what I say. Why?
no.
But because I understand the environment is changing.
Yeah.
I'm not a startup anymore.
Yeah.
I'm now becoming a corporate.
Yeah.
I'm now changing lives, but I can't also make things uncomfortable for my staff.
Is it by
Because-
force that you become corporate in the cultural sense of...
I think that I can't say by force. It's also a case of necessity. When you're growing, like a hermit crab molting. You had what you needed in your space. It got uncomfortable. You had to grow.
Right.
You had to get out.
Yeah.
Getting out, very vulnerable. No shop. Jumping into the next shell and growing into the next space. We still say we're a startup, but I can feel the uncomfort of us moving into that space.
What's your valuation? The company valuation?
We are always going to go up. I'm sorry. But we right now from the last valuation, this valuation should actually be more because of the increase of work we're doing. But we valued now at $10 million in 2 years. And we've also been able to pay out some of our early investors as well, which I believe
Really?
a lot of startups are not able to pay out early investors in the first year or the first 2 years.
Yeah.
So we're doing quite well for ourselves in that space.
No, really.
Valuation's
yeah.
going to increase when we get our IP sorted,
Yeah.
as we
Of
onboard more
course,
customers, when we start releasing new technology.
Forms.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
fun things.
Yeah,
Amazing.
but also more awards. The 40 under 40 awards that I have coming up. We'll see what happens, but I think as a nominee alone, I'm proud of myself for that.
You should be.
So
He was saying like Africa is big. Like
Africa
imagine,
is
yeah,
huge,
it's
and then
huge.
being told
It's
I might
billions.
be one of the top 40 people
Yeah.
in Africa, one of the top 40
Yeah.
minds in Africa. I'm like, you're not serious. Let me go watch this event to see what happens. So I'm going to Egypt to go attend this event, but I mean, we'll see. But all of those accolades, just a nomination, I feel like that adds on to what we do as a company.
Mm-hmm.
My growth is the company's growth. The company's growth is my growth.
Yeah.
And this is where it comes to valuation: is how do we keep going more and get more value? Yeah.
No, but explain how did you take it from
Yeah.
just the three of you to like the $10 million valuation? Like, I know you have explained like you had a design thinking way, so you found out what the customers
always
wanted.
continue the design thinking.
Yes. So is that how you did it? You just
Yeah. We
constantly.
always keep asking the customers. We also focus on what features are we building out next week. At the essence, we're a tech company. We're doing mobility, we're doing
100%,
fintech,
yes.
but we're a tech company, and there's always new things to build. You can't just stay stagnant. If you look at a lot of companies that have, I would call them passed away. Look at Blockbuster. Look at some
So many.
failed things. They died because they won't continue to innovate. When you start becoming comfortable in your space,
Yes.
then you should get worried. Because people are going to go past you and you're going to lose your comfort because you're going to be irrelevant.
And I think in that case also, when you become comfortable, you're not designing for your customers at that point.
Not that I'm saying being comfortable is bad. I strive to be comfortable. I want to be comfortable. But then by that
Personally,
time,
maybe not for.
I hope that someone else can do the discomfort for me.
Yeah.
I want to be in a position
Yeah.
where I'm comfortable.
Yeah.
I don't have to stress about things because I've built a platform to allow me to have the comfort. I still think I'm going to be, even if I retire like in 2 years' time and Loop becomes a $1 billion unicorn,
Yeah.
I still feel like there's issues that's going to place on me, and I'm still going to want to innovate in more spaces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, there's a lot that you're doing, so I don't know if you'll ever be.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
something
sounds
I must go to therapy and find my zen because I don't have it.
You adjust.
Yeah.
No, it seems like you value impact quite a bit.
Yeah, yeah.
That seems like it's
That's
Look,
very clear.
I really feel like if you don't value impact, for me, what are you doing? And maybe it might be a case of my selfish needs of what am I leaving behind? And there's different reasons for different things.
Yeah.
But I must still reflect internally and figure out why am I doing this? I also don't have to. I can also just go get a job and just work. I can also just not work at all and just go lay at home and expect someone else to look after me. I don't know. I could be a bum on the street. Not that look, I feel like it's not bad that those things are happening, but those are decisions that people make. And I still need to reflect among myself on why am I making this decision? Why does impact mean so much to me? Out of all the projects that I've built before, even up until Loop, and also the things that I'm still doing, there's a sense of impact behind it.
Yeah.
And I just feel maybe it's a combination that I will always have customers if I'm solving someone's problem, where my design thinking base comes in, but also the case of when something is affecting somebody, and I think I'm actually answering myself right now when I'm thinking about it, and why I actually like working with people that are growing, because you start growing with them. When I start working with new customers, new businesses, and I enable them, they are also going to scale.
Yeah.
And guess who's going to stay the customer? Guess who's going to stay their partner?
Yeah, 100%.
And I think this model has worked for me. So maybe it is more not the case of selfishness of what I'm leaving behind, but this business model works for me. This business model of impact business has been working for me. And I don't mean impact is in be a charity.
Of course,
Because
yeah.
a lot of people go for,
I
we're
wouldn't
doing this
advise
good
that
thing.
either. Yeah.
Yeah,
I wouldn't
charities, start a charity if you want, but make sure it's self-sustaining.
Yeah.
You're begging for money today, begging however you're going to get your money. But tomorrow, you get the money, you start a charity. Tomorrow, you must go beg again.
Exactly.
If you're
And
not
it's
doing
just
something,
constant. Yes.
if you're not doing something in your charity that generates an income and becomes self-sustaining, stop it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're giving yourself so much work.
And stress.
Just think, how can I make money out of this? Because people think, oh, NGO mustn't make money. An NGO can make impact when it can sustain itself. You can't pour the empty cup.
And it can make money
Yeah.
also. It's
Yeah.
just about how you use.
Yeah. Fill your cup up. Get a bigger cup. Fill that cup up. Get a bigger cup. Get the pool. Get the ocean.
Yeah, yeah,
and the
yeah.
more you have, the more you can give.
Yeah.
And what I see, no disrespect to people that are doing charities, but I've seen a lot of people that come from underprivileged backgrounds that are themselves in need of charity. But because of their good heart, they will give their last.
Yes.
They will give their last to people.
Yes.
But yes, it's fine. No one has to ask what's going on in your place. And often people give because it's the sense of, it's some psychology that I don't want people to go through what I'm experiencing.
Yes.
So I will give because I know what it feels like.
Yes.
But keeping that in mind, you can actually, if your reason is giving, you can actually give more if you grew.
Yes, if
Yeah.
you make more.
The more you
yes.
grow and the more you make and the more you can do to become self-sustaining, the more you can give.
Yeah. Do you have a, sorry, do you,
Go ahead.
I just want to know, do you have a story or like a moment?
Of how
that-
Lou.
Yeah, no, that shows how much of an impact you've had on someone or people's lives.
Yeah, a meaningful.
Yeah, there's actually one of the taxi drivers that started with us in the beginning. They started earning because they were driving with Loop. And this also created a whole new business in Loop as well. But they came to us and they said, hey, thank you, Loop. I moved into a house now with my girlfriend. Yeah, but they're living at the back by somebody, which is great because they were shared in us.
It doesn't matter.
But let me tell you this. Great news. Now they moved into the house. No microwave, no fridge, no oven,
Awesome.
no. And they realize now that, which I think with a lot of even a startup, a business, you go into a space and it's empty. You're successful for the structure and you're happy for the structure. You're happy for the, you've made something. But now you realize that every single day you're buying KFC, you're buying, because there's no oven, because there's no fridge.
Yeah.
And the guy went to the bank to ask for a loan. The bank said no, because we
No.
can't show your
Yeah.
income. Then we realized there's an opportunity here. So now with Loop, we are now able to give access to finance because we've got the records.
Oh, wow.
So now we can make even further impact because the truth is being poor is expensive.
It is very expensive.
Not being able to access things up front is expensive. Buying KFC every day is expensive. But if I could just get you the money to buy the fridge,
Oh,
if I could get you the money to be able to cook
Yeah.
at your house, you end up saving money. But it's like an initial investment that you needed to be able to do it.
This
And
is
that's how you
so
keep growing.
incredible.
So we were able to look at, okay, how much trips are you doing? How much are you earning? We can use that. And we as a company ourselves, we're not giving loans because that's it's the law. So to keep compliant, what we're doing is we're giving our service provider an upfront payment for work that is due. And then when they do the work, the work's going to get paid
okay,
for.
what-
Like a deposit.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
when someone comes in and does the tiles in your house,
Yeah.
you pay a deposit, they do the work.
Yeah.
And that's what we were able to do. Like I mentioned, I like following rules.
Of course.
Yeah, I
you
like following
just-
rules. Because if we have to give out loans, but the thing is, to the person on the other side, it feels like a loan. But the truth is, you're still working for this. The nice thing on our side, there's no default rate because we have your money.
You have the calculations.
Yeah,
I mean,
we know exactly
yeah.
where we're going. What we have done, however, is charge an admin fee, no interest. We charge an admin fee for utilizing the service because we also have a
Which
charity.
is fair, yes.
And we made the admin fee according to your driver behavior. So if you are a good driver, your admin fee comes down.
Oh, wow.
So this also encourages drivers to drive better.
Yes.
Drive better for the public transport, drive better for the private transport.
This is so incredible.
So things fit in.
You guys really think about it.
Yeah, because
I
people
love
have
it.
needs.
Yeah.
There was a problem. I can't go to the bank because I don't have any financial statements because I've been working in cash. Great, that's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
We've also got a problem to get access to this. What do we get? We need to make this self-sustaining, so we charge an admin fee.
Mm-hmm.
We also need to look at how do I incentivize good behavior by making sure your fee can be dropped
Mm-hmm.
because I want you to do well because the better you drive, the better for my customers.
Yes.
Much, yeah.
Yeah.
Company
And then from the other
expansion
side, the commuters were saying they'll rather drive in a
With
loop
you
taxi
guys, yes.
where they see the loop sticker because they know the taxi is going to be clean.
Yes.
Because then the driver's going to be well behaved, the driver's not going to be disruptful. Yeah.
And eventually, we hope the province notices that.
Not just
and
the
then-
province. No, look, the Western Cape,
Yeah.
the government on the side has a support.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. They're here, they are believing in
It's
us, they are
nice to
sending
get
us
that.
places, they support.
Yeah.
Because they also see, and I think Cape Town has a base, Silicon Cape.
Yes.
There's a lot happening in Cape Town, a lot of innovation. And I think government is pushing it. But what I also feel, innovation is happening everywhere. It's about the marketing. We don't know what's going on in another country because we're not there. We don't know what's going on in a township in Limpopo because we're not there.
we're not- yeah.
But do we need to know? If it's working there and it's localized there, maybe that's enough.
Okay.
And maybe that's enough for the entrepreneur.
Yeah.
On my side, is Cape Town enough? Nope.
No.
I'm going.
You want to
We are.
broaden the-
Yeah, we partner with Visa. We partner with ABSA. We partner with ABSA Africa. We are moving our system through South Africa. We're doing about
Hold
9
on,
African
before you go,
countries.
we gotta get to where Luke is going.
Yeah.
Just now.
I'm sorry, I'm driving too fast here. I'm on a
Yeah,
taxi. I'm going.
going to get there. I think something, we just asked you, like, have you ever felt to like giving up? Have there been hard days? But an interesting thing, because you are building a fintech startup in Africa, and yes, Africa produces a lot of fintech startups, so this is something we are good at. But what is something that you learned the hard way while building your tech startup that you would like to tell someone else who's just starting?
Learned the hard way. Gosh, guys.
Yeah.
I have to think about it because I don't think I'm oblivious to mistakes. Just that I don't.
Oh,
I
you don't
it,
see
I
it
see it
like-
all as good stuff. So if something bad happens, like, oh, this is great. This is great. Let me take this opportunity and fix this. But if I think of what has been the worst, I think one of the worst things is believing what your clients say.
Where?
When your clients tell you, oh, I'm paying you next week.
Oh,
I'm gonna pay you on. I'm gonna pay you on time.
Yeah.
I think that has been probably the hardest thing for us as a not just a tech startup, as a business, because we plan according to what the
that, yes.
clients are saying.
Actually, yes.
Clients lying. Clients lie.
We
Look, I
have a
know.
line that we say all the time, clients are crazy.
Yeah, clients are crazy, and it's not like they do it on purpose. I'm sure they're not doing it on
Exactly,
purpose.
they're not, yes.
But that's
Sure about that?
No,
That's-
they're not doing it on
Look,
purpose.
that's one of the things that makes it difficult to do business, because some clients, they want to do good, but we also don't know what's going on back home with them.
Yeah.
That's very-
So we understand, but it does disrupt our business. So we have to look at putting things in place on our side. I go dance to the extra cash or whatever I need to do. But we look at putting things in place on our side to not believe the customer, not believe the client. We believe the customer, definitely. But the client, things are funny on the client side.
How do you manage that?
We manage that by making sure we have enough cash flow for taking on a client.
That's very
You can't take on a client too big, where you have to put too much out, unless you know I can afford this. Transport's different. As in transport, I have to pay for the fuel. If you're using the service now, even if you're having to pay end of the month, that fuel is being used right now.
Yeah.
So that means I need to have money for this fuel. So before I assess the client, I need to make sure as a company, look, we're not responsible for the fuel. The drivers are all driving
Of course,
independently.
yeah.
But as an example, we need to make sure that when the drivers ask for their money, because they have to pay the fuel,
Yeah.
we can pay our drivers on time.
Yes, yeah.
So before we take on the contract, and I'm not going to say no to a contract, I'm going to find a way to make sure if the contract says it's 2 million rand a week is the contract.
Yeah.
I need to make sure that if they're going to take 2 million a week, that's 2, 4, 6, 8 million rand for the month, right? If they're going to pay late by 3 months, that's 8,
Oh my
60,
goodness,
24
yeah.
million that I need.
Yeah.
Can I get 24 million? So, because I don't say no to them, I'm going to go find a way.
Yeah.
I'll take that paper of the contract. I'll say they want to use a service.
Yes.
I'll go dance and say,
Yes.
hey, we need 24 million.
Yeah.
This is what's going on, just in case. And
Yeah.
we do things to make deals work out for whoever's giving us, for whoever's working with us. Because I might not need the whole 24 million. So I say, just open it like an account for me or something there. And whatever I need, I'll use. You keep the others. Only charge me interest or only do a deal with it. Maybe I'm going to do certain work for you up to this amount of money based on what I need. But if I don't have a safety net in place, I'm going to accept this client. Or the other way, I can be honest with the client and say, hey, honest in a nice way, where I say, hey, let's pilot to make sure you enjoy our service. Let's start off with
Okay, I see.
with the half of this
Yeah.
contract. so that you can give us feedback and see what you like and don't like before you completely invest in us. There's always ways, there's ways to talk to you. That's the language you use, the way you communicate. That way, I don't have to get 24 million. I can get 12 million.
Yeah.
And I can still satisfy the customer's needs.
Yeah.
And I can still make sure I can fulfill my things.
Yeah.
Then at the same time, I can work. And now the nice thing, which I think where your funding must come from is customers, is that I now have a operational customer. That means I have more leg to stand on when I go to investors, when I go to the banks, because I can show, hey, I've got this now. Money is coming in. I've got a track record that works. What can you do about this? So I think we're managing that expectation quite nicely because we onboarding more customers.
Yeah.
But to making sure what is the calculation is, what is the cost to us to onboard this customer? It might mean, yes, a customer will bring in money. When? How? And can we supply what we need to supply to this customer before they get onboarded?
That's okay. So believe in customers. I would say yeah. Just plan better with your money. Yeah, don't. People will make promises. I don't think they're trying to cheat you, but I don't know about. In general, don't make plans with money that is not in your account.
Don't count your chickens before they hatch, you know what they say.
In general.
It sounds exciting as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And what often happens, you might even end up spending that money before you
And
even
then
get it.
it doesn't
Nothing
come.
is ever
And then
done real until it is.
Exactly. The client could literally decide they're not doing it
Yeah.
anymore. And that
Like, there's something Imtiaz also says, which I loved, because I didn't do that first. I was just like, I just trust people. And he was like, until I get that SMS from Capitec, I'm not doing it.
Yes, 100%. That's
Until
like
it says money
literally,
in,
yeah.
I'm not doing it.
Now we're like, let's talk. We'll talk. Yeah.
Wait, so how many innovations do you guys have that are currently part of your core business?
We don't call it innovations, we call it projects, because I don't know how to rate innovation.
Uh-huh.
We have Loop as the core Loop,
Yeah.
which does start with payments, does the mobility, does the chat to pay. We also have tap to phone, where you can turn any,
Yes.
right now, an
Yeah.
Android device into a point of sale.
Yeah.
So to enable entrepreneurship and payment acceptance, you can take your Android phone,
Uh-huh.
you can tap it and it makes a payment. Real time, instant payments. We have the insurance. So all the commuters are insured when utilizing Loop.
Yeah.
We have the access to finance. So you can, if you're on Loop as a merchant or a driver, you won't have access to finance because usually you would work cash. There's also some programs we're running where there's with Visa, we're doing financial education, how to budget, how to
This is really
how to understand your credit score, and how to purchase, how to save for a purchase for the purpose. We're also working with the SAP Foundation and Livable, which the project there is inclusive mobility. How do we get people that are definitely able to utilize public transport or private transport? So there we have driver training, where with Livable, our drivers are trained on how to handle definitely able passengers, wheelchairs, crutches, hearing impaired, visually impaired. That's going. That's going to be actually pushed out even further this year because we want to scale that, because there's a lot of people that are definitely able that can't get around.
yeah.
And there isn't enough transport providers that are able to understand how to assist definitely able
That's
commuters.
really good.
Uber tries it. There's an Uber Assist, but the feedback we get is that sometimes they click Uber Assist and then the driver sees you in a wheelchair and drives away. So, yeah, and it's horrible.
You see why I hate that?
Sorry to say someone else's name. They're not too bad about them,
We've said
but
this
it's not.
company many
It's
times.
not their look. It's not their fault. It's
It actually is their contractors.
it's the contract. We can behave how they want to
Yeah.
behave,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
But because we've seen as an issue, we looked at how do we address the issue.
Yeah.
And the SAB Foundation has been instrumental in our development in inclusive mobility. They've been supporting us. They gave us a development grant. They invested in our business.
Okay.
And that's really been great from the SAB side. Then I'm thinking of all the other businesses where I also have I call it an asset management part to Loop, where with the corporate mobility work picking up, we were using the taxis. We're still using the taxis, but we also created a 90-minute policy that all staff will get home within 90 minutes. So the way our software sorts it out will group staff to the areas, and it doesn't mean we're going to drive fast. It means that we have to put the right staff in the right vehicles. But what not to notice now is that when these people living too far apart, we have to use different vehicle classes. So a taxi can be a 14-seater, we have a 7-seater, and we have a 5-seater. and we split people up according to the groups to get them home in 90 minutes. We now have too little 5-seaters and 7-seaters because we have enough taxis. So
see.
what I've done, I know that my friends wanted to invest in Loop, but that door is closed. Yeah. I told them, I'm doing this business, come jump in. Yeah. But now that the opportunity is here regarding vehicles, I've made a system where you can have fractional ownership of a vehicle.
Okay, cool.
So instead of us buying a 200,000 rand car cash out of my own, Loop needs the car because there's work to get made in that car. When that car works, the car makes money. So the three of us could say, okay, the car's 150,000, 50,000, 50,000, 50,000. And then when the car makes money, we get 33%, 33%, 33% of the profits from the vehicle. And that allows more people to enter the investment space.
Yeah.
And then I have a company that manages the assets. So the drivers get paid, the vehicle gets maintained, the petrol gets thrown in, there's a management on that team. All you have to do was give the money. Don't have to do nothing else. So that's another thing that we're doing now with Loop.
So what happens when the service life of the car is?
So we have a 5-year plan
Okay.
on the vehicle. Then the vehicle can get sold and you'll get your cut out of whatever it is, or we can use that money to purchase a new vehicle.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know,
That is so
There's a few more things. The payments for the tap to palm. There's onboarding vendors. So we're also looking at when vendors are utilizing Loop, we can actually do collective purchasing. We can see that you sell Fanta, I sell Fanta.
I
You go into
see,
Macro, you
okay.
go into Pick and Pay, I'm going to Amazon.
Yeah.
But if we collectively put the purchase together, Luke can see this. Luke can tell Jumbo, whatever place, Pick and Pay, hey, I need 10,000 Fantas. Give it to me at a good price, and we settle the invoice to Pick and Pay. And all of us as small businesses in the townships can get a better deal. And this is happening already in townships, but not all of the people are playing with.
it's not organized.
Not, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not organized.
So if we utilize our services and our system, we're able to even predict what you need and when you need
That's
it.
very
Yeah.
true.
Sure.
One
There's-
thing, while you're talking, I'm realizing you're solving a lot of problems to access.
Yes.
A lot of the stuff you're saying, you're giving people access to
access
things.
to market.
Yeah.
Oh, let me tell you about access to market, which I think is one of the biggest things you need as a business is access to your customers. What we're launching soon is what we call deals. So since we have over 15,000 users on our WhatsApp, on the channel, which is growing every single
Yeah,
day, Junior's job to make them grow. Yeah. We also have a referral program on WhatsApp. So when you use the service the first time, you receive a $10. When you top up your account for the first time, the person who referred you will also get a $10.
Okay.
And that's creating some virality. Now, the nice thing with the growth in numbers, we can also see as an entrepreneur who has purchased at your store. So we're targeting food truck markets, food truck valleys, First Thursday markets, and now we're creating databases of communities. So you sell jewelry, right? You maybe also sell jewelry, or maybe you sell your photography services, right? At the same market. Someone buys jewelry from you, I know that they were at your store. He wants to contact that customer. If this customer has opted in for deals, you can push out a promotion to that customer directly to their phone, and they can purchase it. So the next time they come to the market, you already know how many sales you have because they purchased already. You as a photography with a digital service, perhaps, we know that they've been to the market. They didn't come speak to you, but you can also push out at an additional cost to access all the people that attended the event if they opted in for deals.
Okay.
But the thing is, as an entrepreneur, it must be a deal. So it must be a good deal versus what they'll get somewhere else.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the thing. So the customers didn't want to receive deals.
Yeah.
And that's how you can get
Okay,
them.
I see.
Now, the nice thing with Loop, unlike other adverts, you see an advert, there's nothing you can do about it. You see it, you read it, you move on. With Loop, you see it, but you're able to physically purchase it from the person's phone. So it converts not just an advert, but you convert the sale even easier, because the easier you have someone pay for your items, the higher chance you can convert the sale.
That they'll convert, yeah.
So we're doing a partnership with one of the big ad companies, and they came to us also with the problem. They said their competitors are doing digital billboards. These people have the most physical billboards in South Africa. Like literally, there's a lot of them. But for them to convert all of the physical billboards digital will cost so much money that they're going to stay. But they need to move with the times. So they asked, can they, on their physical billboards, tell people, here is a deal from, let's say, KFC. But to get this deal, you need to get it on Loop. Now, the nice thing here is you can continue changing the deals, because once I have you on Loop, it's a digital billboard in your hand. So I can change the deal tomorrow, the next day, without the cost of physically changing That banner.
I see.
That's another innovation, I would say.
That's very creative.
So there's quite a lot of things. Like I mentioned, there's a lot of opportunities, but we're also working piece by piece.
Yes.
We're looking at where's the money coming from right now? How are we solving things right now? And then moving project by project.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That is true. Yeah, but the theme, and I hope that it's coming out clearly, is that if it's always customer centric.
Yep.
First of all, you're always solving for the customer. It's not like you're thinking what they need. They're telling you. And then you're creating the solution around that. And that's why it just keeps on growing and growing and growing. What do we see from Loop 5 years from now?
Oh, you won't see me.
Oh, you want to be done?
In 5 years from now. No, if I'm still
Yeah,
by
we
Loop 5
finished.
years time, then I think we haven't moved fast enough.
Okay.
Because there should be goals we are reaching that does not need me to be there.
Okay.
As a company, if I need to be there in 5 years' time, I will feel like I'm failing. Because I should have grown the company enough for other people to take over my roles.
Okay.
For other people to start partnering and meeting contacts and being on interviews. So I don't see myself in Loop in 5 years' time because I want Loop to get to that level where it doesn't need me anymore. Where Loop's going to be, honestly, I think Loop's going to be not just a global payment platform, not just a global solutions company. I can see Loop being an interplanetary company. We are already doing research of migrating into space. Why can't our payments work on Mars?
They are working on Mars for who's gonna be.
Yeah, but wherever you go, people are gonna have to pay. Things are gonna have to move.
This is
So I can see Loop doing beyond that. Even the mobility is part of like you'll be able to go on your WhatsApp and book a spaceship to the moon.
Yeah, why not?
Why not?
Yeah, why not?
Why not? Commercial flights to space is the way technology is moving with AI.
Yeah.
You just code this thing now to make me a rocket. There we go. 3D print the rocket quickly. You never know. 5 years time is long, and we're on a trajectory. We're on an upward trajectory with technology.
Okay, so what you're thinking huge. You're not thinking big. You're thinking like flipping out of this planet.
Galactic, yes.
Yeah, out of this planet.
I don't know. I feel like it's normal thinking. I just don't know what's going on in anyone else's heads.
Not for me. I don't. That is not how I think.
What I'm going to mention,
But I think I
in a company, I would say this. You can't just have someone whose head is in the clouds.
Oh yeah,
You need to, because if I was just doing this whole time, nothing would get done
that
in
is
the business.
very true.
You need to have that balance of visionary, connector,
Yes.
analysis.
Yes.
You need to have the doer. The right combination of people need to be in your team.
Is it the accountant that usually brings you back?
I think it's Imtiaz that brings me back. Look, he's also a visionary. He's also a
Well,
visionary.
he came up with
Yeah,
that.
but it's also a case of the two of us are I can't say two extremes, but I'm like, oh, this will work. This will be great. He's like, what's gonna work now? He'll always say, okay, we can do that, but what are we gonna do now? And I think that connection where and even in our roles, he makes sure the business works now. He's got an iron fist. He gets the work done. He's
But you
hardworking.
need that.
Yeah, I need that. I know I need that.
I feel like any business needs
Yeah.
that.
And sometimes you are the iron fist. Sometimes people can be the iron fist. But I go out and look for opportunities. He knows I'm out dancing for people to bring clients to the company. Yeah, so it is a combination. So yes, I am maybe hitting the clouds, hitting the stars, but you need to have an anchor. I'm not saying you need to be brought down to earth. You need to be able to know where earth is.
Okay.
You need to be able to look back and say, okay, that's where I come from. That's what's happening right now. Because I'm not going to say don't put your head in the clouds.
Okay.
But just
Yeah,
know
no,
what's
that-
going on.
I agree with that. I agree. I think maybe one of us needs to get to the point where we are thinking up there, like thinking space-wise.
You guys can always get a third. Some couples do that. But
Up there,
it might be good for business.
just dying. Oh, thank you so much.
I was thinking of business partners. You can get a third business
Of
partner.
course.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do a great business partner.
Yeah.
But
Thank you
thank you
so
for doing
much.
this.
Honestly.
No, it's been amazing, guys.
This has been amazing.
Drop my Instagram handles here at the bottom. Definitely get us on LinkedIn.
100%.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah, we
worry.
can do that. And
100%.
Jamie Thurston Wyngaard.
Branding, everything.
Loop. Get
It's gonna be
us everywhere. Yeah. If you need a
really
taxi,
appreciate it.
if you need to do
Yes,
payments,
please, yeah.
if you have staff that need to move around and you want the best, literally the best mobility energy company in Africa,
Top
we are right
people.
here.
Yes.
Mars in 2 years.
Yes.
Yeah, we can
You-
book your ticket now.
It's an African solution for the continent,
Mm.
honestly. Using because we use minibus taxis. We don't really use
Yeah.
like
The masses,
Yeah,
80% of commuters are minibus
Yeah.
taxi commuters.
Or
Number one is walking
tuk-tuks,
in Africa.
of course,
Number
yeah.
one is walking. Number 3 is taxis.
yeah.
The cheapest option.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it really is. That's what
Maybe not in terms of time, but yeah.
Not in the time, but there's another thing, the triangle. You can only have two.
yes.
Quality?
Yeah.
Cost or time.
Well, yeah.
It's either going to be fast and cheap, not going to be quality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's either going to be good quality and cheap, not going to be fast.
Yeah.
It's either going to be cheap and quality. Yeah, you get the
No,
idea.
I
You
get,
can only
yeah.
choose. You can only choose two of those
Yes,
things.
yeah.
Between cheap, fast, and quality.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining us. We're excited to see where you guys go.
Really, really excited.
Yeah. We
Thanks
will
for
be
having me.
following.
Yeah. Keep
Yeah.
following. Even join in. Get yourself a vehicle on loop. Get clients to be involved. Give you a
Yeah.
cut. We're here for it.
Yeah. No,
Collaborate.
yeah. Actually.
How does one do that, in fact?
Well, you can contact me. Well, it depends on what part you wanna, where you wanna get involved, because you also run the business yourself.
Yes.
So how do we enable your business?
It's
Maybe
actually
we can
the payment system.
we can definitely incorporate our payments onto
I
your
just
system.
saw.
People can be paying you. Your clients can be paying through the Loop platform.
Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah. Collaboration, guys. You see.
No.
Anyway, thanks so much. Good luck. You have lots of stuff coming up, especially as soon as that palm thing comes out. Let us know. No, I'm so serious. I really would love to see how that works.
Nice.
Yeah.
Get it on camera. I want to show. They're the first to know. So when we must remember they must be the first to use it when it happens.
No, seriously.
Yeah.
So what am I supposed to say that?
Nah, I think you have it on camera.